Hey everybody, this is Seth, Keeping It Real. As always, we are bringing you content to help you succeed on Amazon. We're all about passive income. We're all about building up passive income streams to help you succeed, to help you fire your boss so that you have the freedom to do the things you love with the people you love. When you are focused on building your business, it's really easy to forget some of the most important parts and the parts that may not be fun up front, but if you deal with these things up front and set it up right, it can completely save your butt later on, keep you out of trouble, and give you peace of mind. It's really important that you set up your business correctly. Now, I will tell you guys, there are 3 areas we get questions on all the time. PPC ads and advertising and sourcing, those 2 areas. Those are probably the 2 biggest struggles, Jennifer, that people have. Where do I source my product? How do I run an ad? Those are difficult. But I would say the 3rd has got to be taxes. Even when you say the word taxes, people go, you know, there's kind of, I get scared. So Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. Where are you from? And this random question, what's one interesting thing about yourself? And it'll give me enough time to take a sip of my protein shake.
Oh yeah, enjoy your protein shake there. I'm Jennifer Dunn. So I am the Chief of Content at TaxJar. We're a sales tax app. And one interesting thing about me, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm a published author of not of sales tax stuff, of other stuff. And I was nominated for a National Literature Prize, but I didn't win. So I know, always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
That's super cool though. So thank you for sharing that. As we go along and I have my purple shake, if you see my mustache turn purple, I just want you guys to know ahead of time, that is why. I just got back from the gym. I raced in here. Jennifer texted me, said, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Oh shoot, I got to hurry up." And now we're ready to go.
Should we let you know if your mustache is purple or just keep you in the dark?
You don't even have to say anything. It's fine. I just want people to know ahead of time in case they think I'm trying to make some kind of new fashion statement or something.
Great.
Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. And I know that you are an expert in things when it comes to sales tax. And everyone, I'm just curious for everyone in the chat, if everyone could chat, and please know, you're not going to get in trouble with Jennifer. We're not going to call the IRS or something, but I'm just curious, how many of you guys currently are collecting taxes on your Amazon sales? Now, here's what when I started on Amazon, I had previously owned some businesses in the past, but Amazon was my first business that really took off. Well, between that, eBay, and Instagram, which my wife sells on. But Jennifer, my thought was this from the beginning: you got to make sure that you're collecting tax on any products that you ship to Texas, because I live in Texas. So that's what we did. So we set that up in our Seller Central. It automatically collects them for us, but we still have to pay it out to Texas, and it's a pain. And previously, when I was an LLC, before I was an S Corp, we had to do quarterly taxes. With my resale license, we had to do these quarterly taxes because we also had our own online store, and they would send me this form in the mail and I would fill it out. And every time I filled it out, this is almost embarrassing, I had to go back to the original template that I made to remind myself of where to put what. It's just, it's not intuitive, I guess. And it's not natural for me to sit there and try to figure out what all these things mean. If I'm doing it every few months, it's easy to forget. So what would you say are some of the biggest misconceptions about collecting sales tax when you're selling on Amazon that you run into?
Oh gosh, well, I'll go ahead and say the biggest misconception is that you only have to collect sales tax in your home state. So if you're selling on Amazon Merchant Fulfilled, then that's true. If that's the only place where you have sales tax nexus, which is a hot topic. Sales tax nexus basically means a significant connection to a state. And if you have sales tax nexus in a state, then you are required to collect sales tax from any buyer where you ship the item to the buyer in that state. Now, Amazon FBA, unfortunately, I know I'm the bearer of bad news here. This is always going to be me. I'm like the Grim Reaper. Having inventory in a fulfillment center, in an Amazon fulfillment center for sale, creates sales tax nexus. So as an Amazon seller, you may be on the hook to collect sales tax in, not just your home state, but other states.
So for example, if I have products, and let's say I'm, selling these super cool hand-carved pipes, if I ship these are pretty nice, aren't they? I want to get one that's like the Gandalf. I'm working on blowing out a ship right now. I can do rings, but I can't do the ship yet. But we'll get there someday.
You'll make it. You can do anything.
I'm a complete pipe nerd. I used to smoke a pipe all the time. But so let's say I'm shipping these, and these are going to a warehouse in, let's just say, California, where I used to live. So even though I live in Texas, if someone buys my product online and they ship out from California's warehouse, let's say they're in California, so naturally they're going to ship from a state closer, I need to be collecting tax on that and paying that tax to California.
Yes, that is correct. And even to make it even a little more complicated, say those particular pipes, they don't ship from California. However, you have other inventory sitting in California. Well,
Right.
because of that other inventory, you have sales tax nexus. So even though if those pipes, they ship from somewhere else, you would still need to collect sales tax on those simply because you have sales tax nexus in California.
Okay. So I'm going to focus on the word nexus for a while, because I think a lot of people are like, what is nexus? So tell me if I'm spelling it right. Nexus, Nexus, right?
That's it.
Got it. All right, it's got the spelling. So you mentioned nexus is connection. So for example, okay, let's say, for example, that I have a business partner located in Georgia, and we both own an Amazon store, and they work from their home there, and I work from my home here. Would that count as nexus?
Yes, if you guys are in business together, yep, it sure would.
Okay, so nexus simply means I have a presence in the state or some connection to it. Therefore, I need to collect taxes for that to pay to that state, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, what if, and I know it's going to vary state by state, but I just want to get a broad picture. What if I'm shipping my awesome Gandalf pipes to Colorado? Does that mean I need to pay taxes to Georgia and to Texas because we have tax nexus, even though I'm shipping them to Colorado? Or am I confusing things here?
Yeah, no, you do not. So if you sell to someone in Colorado and their ship to addresses in Colorado, then no, you don't have to collect sales tax because you don't have any nexus there. So you're in luck. Forget Colorado.
Okay. Okay. So the nexus really relates mostly to if where I'm shipping it to. So if I'm shipping it to Colorado, or I'm shipping it to Texas, that's where I pay tax because of a connection to those places, right?
Yeah, you're getting into kind of the more esoteric stuff, but the point of it's good. I'm glad you asked. The point of sale,
I want to go down this road.
The point of sale for an online sale is your customer's ship to address.
Right.
So, and I can get even more esoteric if you'd like me to. So say, I live in Georgia, but I go to a trade show in Utah and I buy something on Amazon from someone who has sales tax nexus in Utah. And this is an example that's happened to me. Mm-hmm. Say that company, they don't usually have nexus in Georgia. Say I buy from them all the time, and I wasn't used to paying sales tax here in Georgia. But then I'm in Utah and I order it to be sent to my hotel room in Utah, and then suddenly I have to pay tax. And that's just because that person had nexus in that state, and I was having that item shipped to Utah, a place where they had to collect tax. Got
it. Okay. Now here's something that comes up a lot. A lot of people say, well, it's a gray area. Some tax attorneys, different attorneys say, well, Texas states aren't enforcing it. I've even had someone, share the statement for one of the states, and it talked about, well, that's referring to retail brick and mortar. How nebulous is it really? And help me understand, where are we moving towards? Because I think a lot of this is also preparing to de-risk us for the future.
Yes.
Because more and more enforcement is happening. Maybe some states aren't entirely enforcing it, but that day's coming. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, this is kind of the big question right now. So there's a lot going on here. First of all, states are always going to be behind. Oh, and I need to say first, sales tax is at a state level. There's no national sales tax. There's no IRS. Each state enforces sales tax. So there are some states that have, a lot of money in the budget, or they are kind of tech savvy, and those, especially right now, those states are California, Washington, Pennsylvania, and recently Arizona, which they're actually not as tech savvy, but they've all kind of cottoned on to the fact that FBA sellers have inventory in states, and so they have started going after folks and sending them letters and audits and saying, hey, you owe us this much money. Washington is really the worst right now. We hear from Washington all the time. I was talking to just one of our CPA advisors the other day. He's hearing from Washington all the time. Washington, they understand Amazon so well that they will ask to see your inventory event detail report, which is a report within Amazon that shows where your inventory is stored. So Amazon, and of course that's where Amazon's headquarters is. So I guess somebody from Washington, put two and two together. So anyway, so that's happening. But anyway, each state makes their own laws. So I have a blog post that you can go look at each state's laws. It's just what creates sales tax nexus in every state. And they all say something like, if you have inventory in a warehouse, or if you use a warehouse, it's all kind of different things. Sometimes you're called a seller, sometimes you're a dealer, sometimes you're a vendor. It's complicated. States don't make it very easy, but yes. So like I said, those 4 states are really the only ones going after Amazon sellers right now. Right. Unfortunately, states do communicate. So I don't want to be like, all right, worry about those 4 states, forget the rest. It's never going to matter, because right. I want to give you all the information. Now, if I've given you all the information, you still don't want to worry. Well, that's on you now. I've told you what you need to know. But So those states communicate with each other. And something maybe we can touch on later, there's currently a sales tax amnesty for Amazon, FBA, and other online marketplace sellers. And the thing about that amnesty is it's a good thing right now for sellers, but after the amnesty is over, that means all of those states understand what's going on with FBA. So those states are going to be more aware that there are, maybe sellers in the midst that are not collecting sales tax.
And that amnesty applies everywhere, or just certain states?
Only 24 states, and only 12 of those have Amazon fulfillment centers. The other ones could just, be for whatever. It's not only for Amazon; it's for everyone who sells on an online marketplace. So you may sell on Wayfair, or
right.
But it's Amazon's of course the biggest here in the States.
Right. And those states instituted that amnesty, which means their awareness of that is increased. So when the amnesty is removed, now they're much more likely to go after sellers who aren't collecting sales tax, right?
Yes, and that's my fear, is that's what's going to happen afterward. They're going to be, oh, okay, didn't take advantage of amnesty. All right, now the gloves are off. Now we know what's going on, and that's what you see. You'll see one state start, asking Amazon for information, and then they'll kind of communicate with each other. These guys, they go to conferences together, and they read about each other. It's kind of like anything. And states, unfortunately, are way behind. Like Seth, you said that it was really difficult for you to fill out your Texas tax form. If you ever go on a state's website, most of them are just really, like, bless their hearts, sweet people, terrible websites, like not very good technology. And they're just behind, they're 10, 15, 20 years behind. So they're going to get there. It just might take them a while.
Absolutely. This is really helpful. What were the 4 states again? Washington, obviously. Arizona. What were the other 2?
California and Pennsylvania
are the 4 that are truly actively making sure you have collected taxes. You have a nexus in those states. And again, everyone, and elaborate on this if you need to, Jennifer, with my limited understanding, nexus is where either you work in the state, you have a presence there through working there, or you have inventory in that state or a business partner in that state. Did I cover it?
There are a few other things too, like having an affiliate there. About 20-ish states, they have an affiliate in a state. You might remember Amazon a while back having some affiliate trouble, and that's that. Sometimes making temporary sales, depending on the state. Say you go to a trade show and you're selling your book at a trade show. Some states say, hey, you're here one day, you have Nexus and you need to collect sales tax. Other states are very lenient, like Nevada, where it has a lot of trade shows, they don't require sales tax. They're, it's something for them to do. So that, employees, people that work for you, even some contractors, depending, installers, things like that. Just lots of different things can create nexus, but you can look at each state's law and find that out.
And there's only 50 of them to figure that all out on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the chat here. Hey, everybody. Great to see you. Let's see. We got 85 people right now watching. Really good to see you guys. What I'm going to do, instead of greeting everyone, because that'll take like 10 minutes, I'm just going to go straight to your guys' questions. So just bear with me while I scroll down. I want to help you guys. Really good to see everyone here. People from Turkey, people from Texas, people from the UK, people from Australia. Okay, so here's the first question I'm seeing. If I sell products in the US and the sales are sent to my United Kingdom bank, do I only pay tax in the United Kingdom?
Okay, I think you're thinking maybe more of an income tax question.
I think so, yeah.
The United Kingdom has a tax treaty with the United States, so you wouldn't be paying United States income tax. That's about the only income tax question I can answer, pretty much.
The question cracks me up, though, because back at the Revolutionary War, England, America, like, that's over, guys. The Tea Party's done. So, having some fun there, Keith, and you guys need to be my friends.
We have a special relationship. We love our UK guys, for sure.
That's right. Hey, a lot of us came from the United Kingdom. So I have a question then in light of that. So how familiar are you with collecting taxes in the United Kingdom for their different provinces or states, or Canada? Do you ever deal with that?
No, we don't. But our API, we have an API, and we will collect Canada. So if you're like a techie person, you've built your own platform to create, you built your own Amazon, then we could do your sales tax for you, the collection. But we have a good partner, Simply VAT, and they're all about collecting in the EU. And I don't know if this is okay to say. We're going to do a webinar with them later. I'm not plugging it, but just look up Simply VAT and TaxStar, and you'll find our webinar, and we will talk all about that.
Awesome. And it was called what VAT again?
Simply VAT.
Simply VAT. Okay. Definitely a European term. So
yeah, VAT. VAT. Some people call it VAT. I call it VAT. It's easier to say.
Sure. Yep. Okay, so here's a question from Ryan Stanfield. He says, I'm about to launch my first product next week. it's being shipped to Texas, and I'm pretty sure he's referring to the Texas Amazon warehouse. Do I collect Texas sales tax or the tax from my own state?
Both. So if you have inventory for sale in a warehouse in Texas, then you would be required to collect Texas sales tax and sales tax in your own state, because you're home, because your body is there in the state. So you would always have a nexus there as well. So it would be both states.
Got it. Okay. And I mean, technically, if he is in Texas and his inventory is in Texas, that's like double nexus. Doesn't mean you have to collect double taxes. But the time when he actually collects the taxes is when the products are shipped to Texas, not if they're shipped to Indiana, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it only if the point of sale, the purchaser's ship to address is in Texas.
Right. Okay. Very good. All right. Now, Bookscarf says this: I do collect from my state, California only. So Bookscarf lives in California, and he or she is apparently selling on Amazon, but they only collect taxes in California. Can you describe a situation where you believe Bookscarf should be collecting taxes where they're not shipping to California? Would there be any situation where that would be the case?
Actually, yeah, I have a good story for this. So there's also a concept. We have Nexus. We've went over that a lot. There's a concept called materiality. Materiality is your amount of Nexus, is your amount of exposure in a state material. So say, Bookscarf, you live in California, but your inventory is also sitting in a warehouse in Kansas and in Texas. Well, population-wise, Texas is a lot bigger than Kansas. A lot more e-commerce sales in Texas. So say you look at your sales, and you have these 3 states. You think, I have Nexus in these states. What's my exposure here? In Texas, say you're making $100,000 in sales a year. In Kansas, you're making $1,500 in sales in a year. Even though you do have Nexus in Kansas, that much in sales, it's not that much in sales tax. Would you really want to register and collect sales tax in Kansas? Now, if you're and there are 3 types of online sellers that we talk to all the time. We have the very conservative folks that are they want to either sell their business one day, or they just can't sleep at night because they're worried about sales tax in Nexus. They're rule followers, and there's nothing wrong with being that kind of person. We need those people to make the world go around. And so they register in every state. They collect 5 cents in sales tax in Kansas, and they've registered, and they're giving that 5 cents a year to Kansas. Yeah. They're the more balanced, middle of the road people, which I personally am. I was an entrepreneur before I started working with TaxStar. I'm definitely a middle of the road person. I've done some middle of the road things, because that person might say, Kansas, okay, Kansas fines me. I owed them $100 in sales tax. They might charge me a $50 fine for every quarter I didn't pay and some interest. $500. Like, my margins are good. That's not going to kill me. It would cost me more than $500 to deal with sales tax in Kansas, say. Right. I just decided not to register. But Texas, on the other hand, I don't know, even $5,000 a year is still probably a good, kind of threshold for you to register and collect sales tax. So I might collect in Texas, not collect in Kansas. But then there are like the really risk takers who are like, I'm never going to get found. It's fine. I sleep well at night. I'm great. I'm rich. I'm counting my money. That's fine too. I mean, that is also your choice. So that's kind of what my education is about too, is just to say, look, like you get educated, you still want to make that choice and you want to be that risky, like, more power to you. It's your business. That's a free country.
I love how you broke it down based on personality, because that is so very true. There are the thinkers, the entertainers, the feelers, and the directors. And the thinkers, man, they're going to pay every single penny, right? And it just depends on where you are on that spectrum. Absolutely, I can see that. And what I like too is this is really risk management, everyone. You're deciding, okay, in a business, you're always taking risks. Decide which risks are worth it to avoid and which ones are worth it to not create a risk. Like, what are you going to, you're managing your risk, your options. And that's a really, really helpful way of looking at it, because I know a lot of people, what they want, Jennifer, is they want black and white rule. Here it is. Here's what you can and can't do. Do that.
Say that.
But business is not like that. Business isn't like that. It never will be. It's always going to be, there's this vagueness here. What about this? So you have to gain as much information as you can, then make a calculated decision, count the cost, and then run with it, and be willing to change as you go. So I know some people in here, they're going to go, that's too much information. Calm down. Number 1 rule, and this is what I would recommend, and tell me if you would second this or not. At least begin by making sure you are collecting taxes for any state you are shipping to that you have a nexus with. Very simple. If you live in the state and you ship to that state, collect taxes. If your inventory is in another state and you ship to that state, collect taxes. Make sure you've covered that part. If you have a business partner in another state and products are being shipped to that state, collect taxes. It is not hard to set that up in Seller Central. Now, there are ways to automate that. And Jennifer her team has an amazing program for automating all that. So you don't have to sit here and think about it and worry about it. But either way, that would be my first risk management advice, is at least do it for the state where you live in or have a tax nexus in. And then from there, if you want to get really picky about it, you can.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jennifer?
So,
is that fair?
That's a pretty close. I would say though, say you do have a nexus in Kansas, you have a book, you know, you have your pipes are sent in Kansas, but you,
right.
you never make a sale to Kansas. You make one sale a year, so you might not even bother to register in Kansas. Like, you're technically not following the letter of Kansas's law, but Kansas. First of all, they're not going to care about you if you owe them 70 cents.
No offense to all you people from Kansas, but it's probably true.
But you never know. I know, poor Kansas. I use them all the time. I'm sorry, guys.
Well,
but it's just you know, what are the chances? Now, on the other hand, if you sell, like, I don't know, corn cob eater things, then Kansas might be your biggest market.
Right.
So, and once again, that's why it's just kind of about, you know, you have to make the decision. Now, you can talk to professionals. You know, there are sales tax experts out there.
Right.
There are sales tax lawyers if you want to go the sales tax lawyer route, for sure. And that, if that makes you feel better, once again, it's just kind of about, you know, getting educated and making your own decisions.
Right. Absolutely. That's really helpful. All right. Pinkish Popsicle. You're welcome. Absolutely. And I love the YouTube name, Pinkish Popsicle. That's hilarious. And hello, Chris. Good to see you. Hello, Fred. Okay, so Fred says, does Amazon have a tax template that can be installed into your account? So, Fred, if you go to the settings area, you can go through and you can pick each state you want to collect taxes for, and it gives you step-by-step. You just set it up, and it'll automatically start doing that for you. So let's say Bob purchases a product and is shipping to a state where I have Nexus. It'll automatically add that onto their cost, and that money comes to me. Now, I have an extra amount of money. Now, I'm responsible for remitting that to the state, or I can get a program that will do that for me automatically. So let me know, Fred, if that helps with your question. Okay, so Natalia says this, Jennifer, what about Amazon's warehouses? Does it mean it becomes my nexus when Amazon, ships my product to another state?
I know what you mean. Yeah. So you're saying, like, maybe you send stuff into a distribution center. Maybe you send everything to Joliet, Illinois, because that's a big distribution center. And what Amazon does is then they send everything out to, they say, hey, we have a lot of people wanting these pipes in California, so we're going to send half your pipes to California, for example. Right. Yes, that still creates nexus, unfortunately. So wherever your items are sitting, it will create a nexus. So there's a couple things. You can look at your inventory event detail report. It's a report in your Amazon account, and you have to go find it in Seller Central, and it'll show you where your stuff is. TaxStar we can help. Like, if you're a TaxStar customer, we'll automatically just show you where your inventory is. So there are a couple things that you can do, but yes, that is absolutely true. Okay.
Jigar says, I have a question. I live in Texas, and my inventory is in California, but I shipped the products are being shipped to New York. Do I have to pay taxes to anyone, sales tax, in that situation?
No, not in that situation. If you don't have Nexus in New York, then don't collect sales tax.
Yep. Because Jigar, you're living in Texas, that's Nexus. Mm-hmm. Your products are in California, that's Nexus. But New York is no Nexus. You're not connected to that state. You're not running a business there. So you ship to New York, no taxes to be collected. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to keep going. Lens Swap. This is a personality type. I love it, Lens Swap. He says, shouldn't we just collect taxes in all the states?
Yeah, see, no, I wouldn't do it. Now, I'll say, like, maybe you should if you were planning on going multinational. Maybe you're, opening a chain of stores in every state. Yes, but otherwise, no, I wouldn't do that. Just because you don't have to. States would love you for it, but you don't have to. So don't spend that time. Now, collecting sales tax. With TaxStar, we have made it easier and simpler and less for you to worry about. But we still, we started $19 a month, so there's a cost even if you're using TaxStar. Your brain cost of thinking about it and worrying about it is a cost. And it's just, you don't have to, so why do it? No, I don't recommend that at all.
Absolutely. But I will say to Wayne, who asked the question, they will all love you for it. They're like, hey, you heard of Wayne? He sends us money every month. We like Wayne. Guys, extra Starbucks on the house today. Why? Wayne sent money to us.
I had the nicest Taxstar customer I ever had to turn away lived in the state of Oregon and sold on eBay. And he was like, I'm not collecting sales tax. And I was like, honey, Oregon doesn't have a sales tax. You don't have to do anything. And he gave me the nicest note back, like, oh my gosh, you guys are the best. You totally made my day. Like,
oh, that's hilarious.
But just, there are people out there who are just really like, I want to follow the letter of the law. And that's the kind of people we need in the world for sure.
Yep. Eric Ramos, he says, what's the average limit profit before IRS starts collecting taxes? So Eric, that's income tax is different. So basically, if I make $100, I have to pay a percentage of that. Well, it has to be 600 in the US, but let's just say, for example, I made $100. I have to pay a percentage of that to the government. That's income tax. That's different. What we're talking about is if you are selling these cherry wood pipes, when you sell it to someone, and if you sell it to a state where you have Nexus, that customer has to pay taxes on this, and those taxes you collect and send to that state government. So what we're talking about is state tax. That is different than sales tax. Yeah. Really quick on sales tax, you guys. The nice thing about Amazon is they will send you a 1099-K at the end of the year that tells you exactly what your sales were. And I forget the limits. I think if it's 20,000 or above, which is the same as PayPal, then you will have to pay taxes because they will send that also to the IRS. So you have to make sure you pay taxes on that. But that's a different topic. What we're talking about is sales tax. Okay, we're going to keep going. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Leslie, great question. I'm going to stick just to the sales taxes today, even though I'm very tempted to answer that. Yes, you should brain register it. That's all I'll say for now. Okay, let's see. Tumo says, I'm from Finland. I am not sure. Should I also pay taxes to the US or just to my home country? So you do not have to pay taxes to the US if you don't live in the US. You would have to take care of that in your own country. 2 months.
Now, if you are selling on US, Amazon FBA is the only thing. The states, so for income tax, a lot of countries have a tax treaty with the US, so you don't have to worry about paying US income tax. You just pay in your home state. However, for sales tax, that's governed at the US state level. And states, they don't care where you live. They don't care if you live in the next state next door or if you live in Finland. If you have sales tax nexus there, they want you to collect sales tax. Now, could they enforce that against you? Could they? But on the other hand, the worst thing they could do a lot of times is like seize your property. But you don't want your property seized. So it's just, once again, something where you educate yourself. And I have a good article on the Taxstar blog. You can look up like Amazon FBA sellers, international sellers, how do I deal with sales tax? And it tells you all about what to do there, what steps you would need to take. Unfortunately, it's a lot of hoops. States just don't make that easy. They don't understand that there are people living in other countries who are able to, sell in their state. They just like it's over their head. Yeah,
that's really good. So Tumas, if that's helpful, you don't have to pay income tax to the US, but technically you are supposed to collect tax if you have a nexus in that state. So in that situation, he would have nexus in that state, Jennifer, because his products are sitting in a warehouse in one of those states.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Even though his company is in Finland.
Yep, that's correct.
All right. Kyle says this, do we need to pay state franchise taxes if our business is in another state? For example, Texas, but my LLC is in California.
The Texas franchise tax, that's a good one. It depends on your amount of sales that you make in Texas. I think it's like 1.8 million, 1.2 million. I'd have to look it up. I have a blog post about it. I'm going to keep saying that because I have a lot of blog posts. But you need to, for Texas, I believe that you need to file it, but you just file a 0 if you make less than $1.8 million for that specific Texas one. There are other states that have a franchise tax that you don't need to worry about. Just Texas, like 45 states and Washington, D.C. have sales tax. Every state is different. Some states are like, yes, you file this little dumb tax. And other states are like, don't worry about that. You don't live here. So you just need to check with your individual state.
Here's a really interesting question, Jennifer. And I think I know where Amanda's going with it, but I'll just throw it out there in case you know the answer. And if not, no problem. She says, not sure if you can answer this. I am a dual citizen of Australia and the USA. Do I pay double taxes? And my guess is she's referring to income tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an income tax question. So I would check with the IRS and check with your government on that. I know if you live in the US and make money in the US, you have to collect taxes, but I'm 95% sure, check with an accountant, and Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, it depends on where you live as well. So if you were living in the US and you're making money in the US, you have to pay income taxes. But if you're living in Australia making money in the US, you don't have to pay taxes to the US. Even though you're a citizen, you're not living there. So for example, one of our companies we're setting up is going to be in the British Isles, another one in Singapore. When we set that company up, we don't pay taxes to the US if we have enough time or presence in that other country. We're responsible to pay taxes there. In fact, that's why a lot of people, they're selling on Amazon FBA US.com, but their company is located somewhere else. And if they have enough presence in that other country, they pay taxes there. They don't have to pay taxes in the US, so they end up paying much less. Anything you want to add to that, Jennifer?
I've heard similar stories, definitely not my area of expertise. I was a digital nomad for a little while myself. So just personally, yes, I lived in Colombia for part of the year. And once again, I'm a more balanced person. So I did not pay any Colombian income tax, but I might have been supposed to. So statute of limitations is over now. So sorry, Colombia. I didn't give you or any income tax, but yes. So that I believe I was supposed to, or somebody kind of told me, and I kind of buried my head in the sand. What I tell people not to do about sales tax is what I did. So I totally understand where you're coming from, trying to figure this out. It's difficult.
Yeah. I'm meeting with a tax lawyer in October to deal with a lot of this international stuff because we're starting to have business in different places. And the one thing I can share, Amanda, is for our companies that are located in other countries, you can literally pay an agent who lives there, who they set up a business there. So you have enough, Microsoft does this, Apple does this, so you have a presence there. So if your money's going there in that country and it's not coming into the US, you save money. That's why Apple, it's kind of crazy, they would rather pay for a bond for people to loan the money, like through Charles Schwab, than to take money from China and bring it to the US. Because as soon as they bring it to the US, they have to pay taxes. But if they keep it in China, they don't have to pay taxes on it. So there's a lot of different stuff you can use when you're dealing with large amounts of money. Scott says, wow, I'm starting to understand this. That's awesome, Scott. And real quick, I just wanted to make it super clear, at least a ground starting point for everyone, okay? I'm going to say it again for people who just joined. If you have Nexus, and what that means is a connection to or presence in any particular state in the US, when you ship products to that state, you need to collect taxes. It's the law. So for example, if you live in Texas, like Seth does, and if I ship my pipe to Texas customer from Amazon FBA, I have to collect taxes. I gotta let the dog out really quick. One sec.
Yep. Seth was absolutely
he heard someone come home. He goes, oh, I gotta get out there. And then if let's say I have a business partner in California and I ship a product to California, that's also Nexus, I have to pay taxes. If my inventory is in, let's use Kansas, for example, and I ship products to Kansas, I have to pay taxes. Would you say those are the three main Nexus, your business, where you're located, where your business partner is located or affiliate, and then where your inventory is located? Does that cover it pretty thoroughly?
Yep.
I know you got tons of stuff in the back of your mind, Jennifer. You're like, yeah, but just has 1,000 things.
Yeah. Yeah. That really does cover it then. Yeah.
Okay. Feel free to add as needed. Like I want to learn. Everyone here wants to learn. So yeah.
Some employees and contractors. Well, all employees, but some contractors too. So say a contractor, you design a contractor to make a logo for you. That does not create Nexus because they're not working in your business. But say you hire a contractor at Christmas to answer phones for your customer service.
Yeah.
Then that would create Nexus. That's somebody who's materially, and see states, you have to read all their laws and and all their judgments and things like that. It's really crazy, but they'll say, well, that person is materially contributing to your business and all this legal language. So that's just, once again, something you get educated on, talk to an expert if you need to, go read the state laws, call the state, you can call the state.
Right. So as long as it's not a corporation, but it's an actual contractor, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. LensSwap says, how do we find out what state has our inventory? FBA is always moving products from FBA centers. Go into your settings for your shipments when they went out, LensSwap in FBA, and you can see it right there where they're located. If you go to, it's FBA inventory management or FBA managed inventory, I forget which way, and you go in there, it will show you where the inventory is sitting. Let me know if that makes sense, man. Jigar says, I am from Canada. My inventory is in Illinois. Do I have to collect taxes only for sales in Illinois, Jennifer?
Yes. So if you only have inventory sitting in Illinois, then you would only be required to collect sales tax from buyers when you ship the items to Illinois.
Awesome. And Yvonne says, Amazon collects taxes on sales in Illinois. How do I collect taxes? So just keep in mind, Yvonne, Amazon doesn't collect any taxes at all. They don't do that. It's not even their job. That's your job because you're running a business. You're the business owner. And Amazon at this point, and I'm curious if you think this will ever change, Jennifer, Amazon doesn't make you collect taxes. They don't force you to. But are there exceptions to that, or do you think that's going to change soon?
Okay, so no, they do not right now. So Amazon.com, when they sell something, they collect tax in every state that has a sales tax. That's yes. But Amazon right now does not make you, they don't make you collect sales tax in your home state. They might know, they might look into like, you should be collecting, but they don't, they give you no advice. There's like a paragraph that says, consult a tax advisor, and that's all they say about sales tax. However, there are some things going on. A lot of, kind of stuff in the news. South Carolina, for example, this is really interesting to me. I'm watching this closely, is suing Amazon saying, you know what, Amazon, we think you should be collecting the sales tax and not the third-party sellers. And so a lot of third-party sellers are like, yeah, we agree. Like, that would be amazing. Wow. But all Amazon would have to do is then say, well, no South Carolinians can sell on Amazon until you have a resale, or, a sales tax permit, and you have to give us your sales tax permit before you can sell on here. So while it would be amazing if Amazon, was made to collect, Minnesota has a similar law to kind of what South Carolina is trying to do. And so Minnesota, it's not in effect yet until 2019, but it says, unless the third-party seller has a resale or has a sales tax permit, then Amazon needs to collect the sales tax. So unfortunately, all Amazon would do in that case, instead of going to the expense of trying to collect sales tax and pay on behalf of third-party sellers, would be all third-party sellers, no matter what, have to have a Minnesota resale certificate or sales tax permit.
Interesting. That would really raise the bar on those sellers. It would probably filter out a lot of wannabes, really raise the bar on real entrepreneurs, and then it would put a lot of responsibility on them.
That's a good way to look at it. See, I've kind of felt bad. I mean, I still do. I feel bad for people, especially you're just getting started, and then all of a sudden you look at a wall of sales tax permits that you have to get. It's just that's what I do every day, is just try to help people. We help so many people and just talk to them. And a lot of times it's like giving people therapy. Like, it's okay, you can do this, you got it. And it's just because they're doing so many other things. They're doing PPC ads and sourcing and things like that. And those things they actually see returns from. Sales tax, if you make a profit off of sales tax, you're doing it wrong. You're going to jail. Like, don't make a profit off of sales tax.
All it is obligation. This is something you're supposed to do, and if you don't, you could get in trouble. So it feels negative. It really does. And there's 10,000 things to think about. This is very true. Yeah. Very good point. So Yvonne, to answer the last question, how do I collect taxes? So you can do that from your Seller Central account. You can set it up. You go to settings, go to, click on settings. There'll be a tab over here on the left for taxes, and you can click which states you want to collect taxes for. And it even allows you to put in percentages as well based on that state. They give you full power. Then every time someone buys a product and it's shipping to that state, Amazon will add that on and charge the customer. Now you have that extra money in your Seller Central account, and when that's deposited into your bank, that money needs to go to the state. Okay, so Alexander says, what happens if you have not been collecting taxes because of being new and you realize you made over $20,000 to $30,000? Do you have to pay for all the taxes you have not collected? Great question. What's your thoughts on this?
Great question. And this is kind of when it comes down to the three types of people again, or the four types of people. There's several things that you can do. So first of all, you maybe made $20,000 and $30,000. It probably wasn't all in one state. So you're not going to have like such big, liabilities. A lot of that might be in states where there's no Amazon fulfillment center. And make sure you look and see where you had inventory. There's, I think, 20 to 25, it's kind of changing all the time, states with Amazon fulfillment centers right now. But your inventory is not going to be in all of those states generally. Last time we kind of did a deep dive, people's inventory was in about 10, but that's grown. So maybe 10, 15 states where your inventory will be. So check that out first. And then you can go figure this out yourself, or use TaxStar. We have a feature for this too, and look and see how much sales tax you would have collected in those states. And you can just look on your TaxStar dashboard. It'll be in yellow. It'll say, look, you didn't collect any sales tax. You should have collected, $5 or $1,000 or $10,000 or whatever in the state. And that's where you make your decision. You can be the real conservative guy. You can come clean and be like, State, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, I didn't collect sales tax. I didn't know. Fine me, put me in jail. You won't go to jail. But, find me. And so the state will say, oh, so what was the first day you had Nexus? And then they will charge you fines and interest on that sales tax that you didn't collect. Right. So that's the, the most honest and conservative approach to take. The second approach a lot of people take is they will register for a sales tax permit and tell the state, hey, state, I just got Nexus today, the day I'm registering for the sales tax permit. That's not, that's definitely not something I can recommend, but that's something that people do. Right. But they will then, pay, they'll look and, oh, I owe the state $70. They'll pay that $70 to the state on their first sales tax return. So it's easier. So say the state does catch you and they're like, oh, you lied. You had Nexus for a year before you told us. well, at least you've given them that $70. So even if they go through and audit all your books, they'll say, oh, you're clear, you've paid everything. And then of course the kind of risky guy, once again, is just like, I'll tell the state I started collecting sales tax today. I'm not going to pay that back sales tax, and I'm just going to, let the dice fall where they may. And there's one more thing you can do. If you're somebody who just really has made a lot of money in a state, a $10,000, $20,000, or I'm sorry, you owe that much in sales tax in a state. There's something called a voluntary disclosure. And that's something you can get with a accountant or a sales tax lawyer. And what they do is they talk to you, they figure out your sales tax liability. They go to the state and they say, hey, state, we know a guy. I'm not going to tell you who he is until he owes you $20,000. Let's make that 12, or let's make that 8, and then they'll make an agreement, and then you negotiate for you, and then y'all are square, and then you collect sales tax from then on out.
Right.
And yeah, so that's kind of your options. Now, there's one more thing. I know this sales tax amnesty that I mentioned earlier. It's going on right now, and it kind of gets rid of all that having to pay the back taxes. So the sales tax amnesty right now, 12 states with Amazon fulfillment centers, Texas is one of them, and they basically say, hey, you get right with us now, then you don't have to pay that back sales tax, even if you owe us, 500 to 10,000 or however much. So that's another option, but that only lasts until October 17th. So that's definitely, it's not in every state, it's pretty limited time, but that is another option right now.
Yeah, the fact that they're even doing that indicates they're getting serious.
Yes, yeah, that's the kind of the fear. Going to come after October 17th. They're going to be like, all right, and your gloves are off. Let's go.
I love this situation with the lawyer, where the lawyer goes and negotiates for you. Then I can tell you who it is. Negotiate a deal, protects you. Hopefully the fines are less, and then they say, okay, here's who it is. We got this settled. That's brilliant. That's really smart.
Yeah, well, see, so even the fact that that's a thing that states do, that kind of lets you know how complicated sales tax is. I mean, most of the time, people are not inherently just like, I'm going to dodge taxes. They don't know, or they really don't think. Like, they might have read the law and said, this doesn't sound like me. And then the state reads the law and says, that sounds just like you to me. It's just it's complicated. That's why we're happy to help educate folks.
That's awesome. Ryan says, so I collect taxes on each product that I sell to Texas, the place from which my inventory. Why will I be back to the state I'm in? Wouldn't that be paying double taxes on one sale? So Ryan, if I understand your question correctly, you're wondering, why are you paying it back to Texas? So when you collect the taxes, you're getting that money. You're receiving it. Then you're taking that money and you're paying it to the state. You're only collecting one time, and you're only doing it if your nexus is in Texas. Your nexus is in Texas. It sounds like a country song. All my exes are in Texas. All my nexus.
Yeah, I think we've sung that song before around Tax Jar, unfortunately.
That's just too funny. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So if your nexus is in Texas, I'm going to say that with a straight face, and you ship your product to Texas, you have to collect taxes on that because your nexus is in Texas. So did I say it right?
Yeah.
Jennifer? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Well, you're good.
Don says, I thought the rule of thumb was to collect in the state you live in.
It was. Yeah, I mean, it is mostly. So if you open a brick and mortar, pipe store, then yeah, you would only collect in the state where you live in. But unfortunately, you have Nexus, and I don't know. I shouldn't really say unfortunately. Just as a kind of a price of doing business with Amazon, you're going to have Nexus in other places. You benefit from that because your inventory gets to people faster. You have people, come and buy your stuff on Amazon Prime. You have a huge audience. I mean, who doesn't buy things on Amazon? But, kind of the cost of doing business there is that you would have sales tax Nexus in other states. And so then you would need to collect sales tax.
Yeah. And I would add to that, Don, start there. Start with that and then say, okay, what are the next steps I need to do to make sure I'm as safe as possible? And I want to encourage everyone too. I know some of you guys are very new to Amazon, haven't tried anything. Some of you guys are dabbling, checking it out. Some of you are dead serious and you just started. And some of you are making tons of money. If you're in the mindset of, I'm going to build a business, I'm not just going to dabble and sell a few things here and there. I really want to build up huge passive income. It's better to set it up right now than later have to go back and lose tons of money. It's kind of like trademarking, which you need to do for brand registry. It's better to get a trademark now because it takes time anyways to get that through, so that later on you're going to reap the fruit of your labor and have less competition and fewer hijackers trying to steal the hard work that you did. Well, in this case, why not set it up right now so that you're safe?
Exactly. So, collecting sales tax is not a lot of work. I think people kind of think it's harder than it is, because it is very daunting. But kind of once you get started doing one state, like, oh, okay, I get it. I mean, Amazon sends it to me, I send it to the state. All right, got it. So it's not as hard as it sounds. First of all, getting started is definitely the hardest part. And second of all, if you ever want to sell your business, they're going to do due diligence, and they're going to say, you got inventory sitting in California. Why are you not collecting sales tax? And that buyer might either, that can tank the whole sale, or that buyer might, well, you need to, pay me this $10,000 or whatever that you should have owed in sales tax in California. You should have paid in California. So that's another thing. If you really, want to build something lasting and something big, and it's just, it's protection. It's kind of like having insurance or anything else like that. You definitely want to protect your business.
Really, really good point. And a couple of people asked one more time, what were the 4 states? Tell me if this is right. Washington, Canada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, right?
California, not Canada.
But did I say Canada?
You were thinking about Canada.
It's funny because I have a store in Canada. It's Amazon.ca. So now when I see CA, I think Canada more than California, even though I used to live in California. So sorry, my California friends. But so it's California. That's too funny. California, Pennsylvania, Washington, Arizona, right?
Yep, those are the most aggressive. Washington and California by far the most aggressive, but Pennsylvania and Arizona they're jumping up there.
Gotcha. So what she's saying, you guys, for those of you guys who just joined, those 4 states are the most aggressive. So if you live in any of those states, or you have inventory in any of those states, or you have a business partner in any of those states, or you have a contractor in any of those states who's doing ongoing work like taking phone calls, make sure you're collecting taxes to protect yourself. Or you could get a letter someday from the state, and you're not going to want that because then you have fines to pay. All right, this is awesome, Jennifer. Okay, guys, here we go. I'm going to take another question. I thought so also, because the profit comes to the state or country you live in, and profit is the thing where you pay taxes. So I guess it's not a question.
Income tax. Yeah, that's more about income tax. So sales tax, think of sales tax as a tax on a transaction. So say I buy this water bottle at a store and I pay a 6% sales tax on it. But then say I get tired of this water bottle. I'm like, hey, neighbor, I'm going to sell you this great water bottle. I sell it to my neighbor. I still have to charge a 6% sales tax because it's on the transaction. So it's not even on the item. It's on the transaction.
That's a really good way of looking at it. And because that transaction is taking place here in your state, right? Therefore, that tax has to go to the government to support. Different than a tax on you, the money you're making, your profit, your income tax, right?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, that's really helpful. Is it convenient, says Maria, or recommended to take advantage of the amnesty even though we are new sellers in Amazon?
I don't think so, probably. You should just kind of look and see how much sales tax you should have collected, but the amnesty is more for folks who kind of have liability built up.
From the past.
Yeah, so probably not. You could, but it almost wouldn't be worth it for you.
Yeah, because in October, you're going to have to collect them anyways.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Now, the other good thing about the amnesty is that people think, oh, do I have to do all 12 states? No. So say you only have liability, you're worried about Texas, you can take advantage of the amnesty in Texas, but no other states. So that's a good thing. That's
a really good point. Super Matthew 10. That's kind of a cool name, Super Matthew, says, do you need to apply for a sales tax license in all the states that you have Nexus? I'll share what I know, and then if you want to add anything to this, Jennifer. So you're not required to have a sales tax license is not the same thing. Like when I had a business in California, it was different. You had to set, fictitious business name, but in Texas, we had to have what's called a reseller's permit. Can you elaborate on that, Jennifer?
Sure. So you are required, and so we kind of use the generic term sales tax license just because it's the thing. But yeah, they might be called different things, but it's always going to be a license to be able to collect sales tax. And one caution: the worst thing you can do in sales tax is collect sales tax, tell your customers, hey, I'm collecting this 6% sales tax, and then put it in your pocket. That's the only way anybody goes to jail over sales tax. That's considered tax fraud. And but some sellers, you might be new and not real. You saw me and I say, hey, collect sales tax. You're like, all right, let me start collecting sales tax. Not realizing that you need a license first. So definitely always have a license before you start collecting sales tax. No matter if you think you're doing the right thing, the state might look at that and say, oh, that's tax fraud. You're keeping that in your pocket.
Yeah, so that's really helpful. So they call it different things. In Texas, it's a resale permit or a tax seller permit. Back when I was a sole proprietor, I had to get one of those. Then when we became an LLC, that changed. And then we have now the franchise thing to deal with. Now we're an S Corp, so it changes, but that's really helpful. So, and guys, keep in mind too, if the easiest way to start is the state you live in, find out, talk to the Secretary of State or whoever you need to, find out what they require, know their laws, then go from there. And they're going to tell you. Like when I first became an entrepreneur, I didn't have anyone telling me. I just went in. I said, okay, guys, I'm starting a business. Tell me what I need to know. And they were really, really helpful.
And for sales tax,
Hazel says,
it's the Department of Revenue. And they're, once again, they're called different things. Like Texas is the Texas Comptroller. But it's just basically, if you Google the name of your state and Department of Revenue, you'll get to the right place.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Hazel says, if you live in the United Kingdom and you have no nexus, how would this work for collecting sales tax?
You don't have to collect sales tax. Don't worry about it.
Now, I know Hazel, and I know she sells, but she sells in the United Kingdom. So Hazel, if you, because wherever you live, and again, now I'm in the US, so I'm limited on this. But let me just apply US law here and see how it applies to you. If you are living in you're living somewhere, right? Wherever you live, you have a nexus. If you have a business, where you live is your nexus. So if you're selling on Amazon, at some level, you have to be paying taxes. If you're selling in the United Kingdom, you would have to figure it out with that. Do you guys ever do any help for people in the United Kingdom, or would that be more referred to that other webinar you were talking about with the VAT?
We're going to have that webinar with Simply VAT, but that is to help it's to help UK sellers, but also US sellers who want to sell into the UK or the whole European Union, actually. It's going to talk about all that. And even going to talk about Brexit and what that's going to, the effects that might have on taxes as well. So it's going to be a really good webinar, but just look up Simply VAT, VAT, and they're just a great company. They're kind of like the tax jar of the UK.
Awesome. Len Swap says, can I just pay you, Jennifer, to set this up for me? If so, how much? I love it. So I will tell you guys right now. So I added this already to the About page because I figured that question would come up. If you guys want Jennifer's company tax jar to set this up and take care of it for you, that is totally fine. That will do it. And you will get a 10% discount if you put in just one dime. Correct, Jennifer?
That is correct. 10% on an annual plan. And our annual plans are already 10% off, so it's like 20% off an annual plan.
That is awesome. Can you just take a moment? And guys, please know, we didn't set this up as a commercial, okay? I don't have some like back-end deal with Jennifer. I'm completely transparent with you guys. This is a live interview. Then after this, we're doing a really in-depth training just for Just One Dime members only. She's gonna go through a whole presentation to teach you everything she can. However, could you just take a few moments, Jennifer, to share your screen and walk us through how Tax Jar works for those of people who want to say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this burden. If I can have you guys do this for me, I can sleep better at night and focus on building my business. Can you do that for a few moments?
Yes, actually, you know what, I meant to have that up and then I forgot. So give me 1 second. I'll just real quickly.
No problem. Yeah. And while you're saying this, I can take the next question.
Sure.
Let me see here. Okay, let me scroll back. Oh man, you guys have a lot of questions. This topic right here could win the award for more questions than I've ever seen for how many people are here. This is unbelievable. I'm going back. Okay, here we go. I think I've caught up. Okay. Okay, is it convenient? No, we already talked about that one. Hazel's question. Oh, this is funny. So Abundant Life Wellness says, I'm married to a CPA and he's still confused.
Okay. No, you know what? That actually brings up a good point. So a CPA, you think about doctors. If your stomach hurts, are you going to go to a foot doctor or a podiatrist?
Nope. No.
So a CPA is like a tax person. So they're good for, most of your things, or for income tax, excuse me. They're good for your income tax. They're good maybe for, making sure you're doing your bookkeeping and maybe even picking a business entity. But a SALT, S-A-L-T, that's a state and local tax expert. That's your expert on sales tax. There are not that many of them. There are a lot of CPAs in the world. There are not as many sales tax experts. It's just because they have to know all these crazy sales tax laws. Like a CPA, if he's mostly going to, or she is mostly going to do income tax returns, they're not going to keep up with every time Texas passes a new sales tax law. So a state and local tax expert, SALT, is who you would want to look up if you're looking for a professional.
SALT. Okay, excellent. And Dan says, if I don't collect taxes for a state I have nexus with, does Amazon charge the tax to the customer? No, they do not, Dan. If so, what do they do with the money? They don't get the money, so they don't. So you have to set that up in your settings to collect those taxes.
Yes.
All right, Jennifer, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Let me share my screen here. 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
I forgot where it was for a minute. Oh gosh.
It's that green button. Looks like a monitor with, oh, there it is. I can see it.
Okay. You see it? You see TaxStar there?
I do.
Now, this is a dummy account. That's why there's an error up here. If there's an error up here in your own TaxStar account, that means there's something you need to fix. This is something we use for testing and things like that. But so this is the inside of a TaxStar account. This is a multi-channel seller. So you can look down here at linked accounts. See, they sell on Amazon, but they also sell on Etsy, PayPal, Shopify, and Square. And the important thing to know about that is if you sell on those other platforms, you still are required to collect sales tax. So you might, have a bunch of different sales tax platforms that you're dealing with in your sales platforms. So what TaxStar will do is we'll show you your gross sales today. This person's a pretty healthy business there. And then though, when it comes to actually filing your sales tax returns, you can go into a state. Let's look at Texas. Let's stay on that Texas kick that we've been on. And we will show you how much sales tax you collected. And see, this is actually what you would then put in your sales tax return from the state of Texas if you wanted to file that manually. Okay, so there wasn't anything up there. So see, this person, they have a pretty easy Houston sales tax return. They just have to put these two amounts on these two lines on the Texas sales tax return, and also kind of this stuff. So I know this is like a lot, but also, so say you're like, I don't want to look at this. I never want to see this deductions, exemptions crap again. I hate it. Then you can enroll in auto file, and TaxStar will just file your sales tax return for you. You never have to look at this stuff ever again. So a lot of people like auto file. We just started auto filing in all 50 states in July. We did most states, but we had a few stragglers, and auto file has just like taken off beyond our wildest expectations. That just shows me that people hate sales tax, and I totally understand. And
they love you guys because you guys are fixing a real problem.
Yeah, and most of the people who started TaxStar have been e-commerce sellers. I was an entrepreneur, but I was a writer, so I didn't sell products. But almost everybody, I think maybe only 2 or 3 people have not owned their own business in the past. So we definitely, we fixed a problem that we had, which is a great way to do it a lot of times. One other quick thing I want to show you guys. So this guy is yellow. Most of these are green, and that means that they have collected the right amount of sales tax. California here is yellow. So what that means is we are seeing that we think you collected the wrong amount of sales tax. And so we will show you that. Then you can go into California, and I'm not going to get into it right now, but we will show you like, hey, you didn't collect sales tax from your Shopify store. Say you forgot to set up Shopify to collect sales tax in California, for example. And so that's a way to troubleshoot. But also, if you had never collected in California, and so say you collected 0, but we're showing that you should have collected 167,000. Well, that's something like you might want to take advantage of, an amnesty or do one of those voluntary disclosures I told you about. So that's definitely something. If you've never collected sales tax, you can go into TaxStar and just look and say, hey, I should have collected $1,000, or I should have collected $40,000, and make an educated decision for your business on when to start collecting sales tax.
That makes total sense. Real quick question on that. Yeah, when someone signs up, first, they need to set up the sales tax collection in their, just speaking of Amazon, Seller Central account, correct? They first need to set that up.
Yes, you personally set that up. Now, we do have a video and an ebook that will both show you how to set that up to help you out there.
You guys have instructions on that too. And then when they enroll with you guys, they can set it up so you guys show them how much has been collected so you know exactly how much to pay. Or with the auto enroll or the auto file, you guys actually pay the tax for them.
That's right. Yeah, you just, the only thing you have to do is make sure you have all of your accounts connected. So if you sell on Shopify and Amazon, make sure they're both connected to TaxStar, and then you enroll. And that's usually 2 or 3 questions. It's just things we've had to work with each state and each state needs something slightly different. Once again, states are just, they're crazy. They all have different needs. So you enroll an auto file, and then all you have to do is have enough money in your account for us to pay your sales tax, and we will do it for you.
That's incredible. And that money comes directly out of their Seller Central account or out of their bank account?
A bank account. Yeah, use a checking or savings account. And we don't do any of that stuff where, like, people have asked us this, where like we get your money, then we put it in an account and earn interest on it, and then we give it to the state. We don't do any of that. We literally just like take it from your account to the state.
Gotcha. Okay. That's super, super helpful, Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you tons for being here today. I'm going to honor your time. We said 1 hour, so we did it for an hour. Everyone, I know you have a lot of more questions. What I'm doing right after this live interview is Jennifer and I are going to do just a one-on-one presentation where she actually takes us through a slideshow presentation and teaches us everything she feels is important for you to know for selling online, not just Amazon, but anywhere. And then that whole presentation is going to be offered to people who are just one dime members. And a lot of you guys have asked about this. Hey, what about your guys' coaching program? What does it involve? So what we're doing is when you become a member, you get access to that presentation as well as the 4 hours of coaching every week, as well as the sourcing couple, the team there who will help you with your sourcing and samples, as well as the reviews. I mean, there's tons. It's a full-blown program. You guys can get 4 hours live coaching every single week for a year. So I included that link as well. Now, for those of you guys who say, you know what, I just need help with the taxes, what I recommend you do to make it easy is if you go to taxstar.com, the link that I provided below, and you put in just one dime as a coupon code, it'll discount at 10%. And if you get the year plan, it's 20%. So you can do that, and you can get the training as well if you decide to get the whole just one dime program. But either way, hope this has been super helpful to you guys. And Jennifer, thank you again for taking the time out of your day to take this very big, hairy, complicated, fear-inducing subject and make it a lot more simple for people who are striving to make money online and create freedom for themselves and for those they love.
I'm happy to help you guys. Just here to educate.
Awesome. All right, everyone, have an awesome day. Thank you so much, you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.